Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, notwithstanding the House rules, I move that we revert back to motions.
On that motion, without any objection, so ordered.
Madam Speaker, my first motion is to bring Bill 118-31 relative to the volunteer lifeguard program. There's a request made by the sponsor of this bill, Senator Rodriguez, that an amendment needs to be made that is classified as something beyond a technical amendment. So I move that we pull Bill 118-31 from the voting file and place it at the top of the second reading file.
On that motion, without any objection, so ordered.
Madam Speaker, I'm also in receipt of a request made by Speaker Pangilinan to yourself requesting for Speaker's emergency declaration relative to Bill number 308-31, and this bill is an act to appropriate $1,360,943 from the Supplemental Appropriations Revenue Fund to the University of Guam for its FY 2012 operations for the payment of tax year 2010 income tax refunds and to amend 5 GCA relative to improving fiscal discipline. So you are in receipt of this waiver request from Speaker Pangilinan, and thankfully, Madam Speaker, you responded immediately granting the waiver of a public hearing request for this bill. So having done that, this qualifies this bill to be heard in this session. So I move that Bill 308-31 be placed on the second reading file.
On that motion, without any objection, so ordered.
And there's also been a request by the sponsor of this bill, VC Pangilinan, on the matter of Bill number 241-31, an act to add a new 62210 to Article 2 of Chapter 62, Title 21, GCA, relative to exempting maps of the Chamorro Land Trust lease sites previously approved by the Chamorro Land Trust Commission from the Guam Land Use Commission subdivision and recordation procedures, and I move that this be referred back to the Committee of Jurisdiction.
So it's Bill 241
Yeah,
to
to move,
report
yeah,
back
to take
committee?
it from the voting file and place it back in the Committee on Appropriations, Taxation, Public Debt, Banking, Insurance, Retirement, and Land.
Does everyone understand that then? Okay, so on that motion and without any objection, so ordered.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We're now ready to go to the second reading file.
We're in the second reading file, and I recognize the author of Bill 118. Yes, Senator Rodriguez.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Madam Speaker. And I thank the body for allowing this to happen. It's just a short amendment, Madam Speaker. It's on. It's to amend Section 7 of the bill. And right now the bill reads Section 7, participation of qualified lifeguards authorized. Privately employed lifeguards who are certified pursuant to the requirements of law may be accepted as volunteers and shall be exempted from the qualification screening requirements contained in subsection 77.125D. And I'd like to amend to strike out an E of Article 1, Chapter 77, Title 21, Guam Code Annotated. So it will be, they'll be exempted only from item D of that subsection, Madam
So
Speaker.
the amendment is, is it section 77125 or 6?
That's correct.
It's 5. It should be 5, not 6.
77125.
77125. Okay, and to delete all of E,
Yes,
so it's just 5D,
that's correct.
and delete from Ann all the way down to line 12 for volunteer.
No,
No?
only deleting and
Just
E,
and
which
E.
is, yes, item
Okay,
E.
just and E. Okay, so, no, I don't. Oh, okay. All right, I
And
got
we
it now.
passed out the amendment, Madam Speaker.
Okay, so on the amendment then, without any objections, so ordered.
Thank you.
On bill number 308 LS.
Madam Speaker?
Oh,
So on the motion to place Bill 118-31 to the voting file,
on that motion and without any objections, so ordered.
and that we also vote on this bill without engrossment.
On that motion without any objections, so ordered.
Thank you.
So it'll be back to its same order where it was originally. Okay, so I recognize Speaker Pangilinan on Bill number 308 LS.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I'd like to move that notwithstanding the House rules then, place Bill number 308-31 to the second reading file, and I'd like to discuss it briefly.
On the third reading file to discuss. Third. Okay, so you may proceed.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we've all become aware of some critical needs at the University of Guam. And while we knew that there were needs that were being deferred at the University of Guam, we made that decision based upon the availability of revenues, that we only had so much revenues to give, and we then went about and distributed those revenues pursuant to the governor's recommendations and the recommendations of the Committee on Appropriations. And in enacting the budget bill that was passed and is awaiting the governor's signature, we really exhausted all of the revenues that we had identified and had appropriated all of these available revenues, some contingent, some not. And in the meantime, we've seen what has occurred at the University of Guam, in that the University of Guam have gone in and its Board of Regents took a look at their operations, tried to find and fit then with the revenue levels given to them by this body, which was over and above the revenue the appropriation level recommended by the governor. So we actually did our best in this body to give more money to the University of Guam than what was set aside by the administration in their budget package. Despite doing that and giving them more money, the University of Guam, in its review of its internal operations, then went about and looked at their operations, identified some reductions in their operational costs, but still determined that they would need to increase tuitions to the students to the tune of $1.3 million. And that was in order to cover some of the reductions, some of the operational requirements that they could not cover through reductions, because if they reduce them any further than what they have identified and recommended to the Board of Regents and approved, that it would severely harm the University of Guam in its operations, and thus they voted to increase tuition. Well, we saw the students' reaction to that and their cry for the need for some greater understanding of the impact it has to them. We know the University of Guam has embarked on a slogan of "It's the natural choice." Well, the students' response were, "It won't be the natural choice for me, or else it will be a deferred natural choice if I have to face and pay for additional increase in tuition. I can't afford it. It's got to wait. I'm going to have to do other things, maybe defer enrollment, whatever." But we know that it would have a tremendous impact on the University of Guam. And during all this time, the committee, as I have assured this body, continued to work on looking at the budget, what we've passed, what the revenue streams are, and trying to identify areas in which, if there was available revenue, then this body was willing, I was willing to come back to this body to present to it uses of that revenue that would meet some of the areas that were critical to the operations of this government. And of course, for us, to me, the most critical that has emerged have been, of course, this tuition increase at the University of Guam. And we knew that that was going to be a factor, that we were going to continue to work on identifying revenues to mitigate that. And of course, the continued requirement for additional income tax refunds set aside in order to pay all that we can with all the resources we have. And so one of the things, Madam Speaker, as we continue to work on looking at all of the revenues identified in the budget bill, is that we were able to surmise and obtain documents from the administration pursuant to the Freedom of Information Act request. And it really is, to me, disconcerting that the documents we acquired through the Freedom of Information Act request, which we just acquired late last week, was that these were reports and documents that are required by law to be provided to the legislature. And they were not provided to the legislature. And as we continue to follow up on the job that we have as the Office of Finance and Budget, we decided, well, if we don't have this report, we're not getting it, we're going to file a Freedom of Information Act request. And of course, we filed that request. We called up the director, reminding him, and we finally got the report related to the request for Section 30 reimbursement, or for Section 30 cover over amounts to the government of Guam. Now, we know that in the budget bill, the governor sent down, he identified $50 million for Section 30 as the revenue number for FY 2012. Well, what we were able to uncover in the request to the Department of Interior for that amount is the governor's request that the required recapture of the overpayment of Section 30 of $5.8 million, that be restructured once again from the MOU that requires us to pay $5.8 million for the next 4 years, 2010, 2011, 12, and 13. And the governor's requesting an approval to restructure the 2012 and 2013 payment to a new schedule. And that new schedule would have us being withheld from Section 30, $500,000 for FY 2011, $1.5 million for 2012, $2 million for 2013, $3 million for 2014 rather, and $4.6 million for 2015, which brings us to a total of 11.4. So instead of paying back this 11.4 over 2 years, 12 and 13, he's requested for this restructuring. If this is approved, that gives us additional money that was not adopted in the budget to be able to place towards critical needs of this government. And in this case, the choice that I'm presenting to the body is the University of Guam and income tax refunds. So what this bill does, Mr. Speaker, is it would then appropriate 1.360943 of that increase from the restructuring. So we went from 50 million, the governor had asked for 53 is requesting 53 I forgot the exact amount, of about 53 million. And with a $500,000 reduction due to this new MOU, that means there's about 52.5 million available over and above the 50 million that's adopted in the budget. So that number has not been appropriated. It hasn't been recognized as revenue because we didn't know about it. Even though the request for the restructuring went in supposedly on September 1st, we were here over the last 3 weeks discussing this, and the governor's office never once told us that, by the way, that Section 30 number has the potential of increasing from 50 million to $50.5 million. Nothing. Silence. No transparency. No truth in the representations that they're making. They continue to say this is the revenue number and nothing's going to change. And so discovering that there'll be approximately 2.5, and when you get to the exact dollars, it's a little bit more, that can be realized, that we would then appropriate the 1.36 million to the University of Guam to avert the tuition increase that the Board of Regents has approved. And so that is the use of 1.3. The balance of the money of 1.5, which will total about $2 million, would then go towards more tax refunds, because we do know from the budget, the bond bill that was passed, that we still would have outstanding income tax refunds. So any additional revenue that we can find that has not been allocated, appropriated, and accounted for, I'm committed to throwing and putting into the set-aside for additional tax refunds. I think that is what is most critical, that everybody agrees to at this point. Whether we borrow it or we find new revenues, then we set it aside and put it towards refunds. In this case, we could realize this additional 1.5. And so the bill then would set aside that 1.5. Now, of course, this is contingent on the appropriation and the approval by the Department of Interior. Well, we are doing all that we can to assist the governor in getting that approval process, and you know, we're saying that we will do all of our efforts necessary to assist the governor to get his plan approved. And we're pretty confident that we may be successful in that. And if we are, and contingent upon then that approval, then this money will go towards the University of Guam and income tax refunds. The other section of the bill is the bill that would treat continuing appropriations. We know that we do want to have continuing appropriations. The concern is when you fund the continuing appropriations, it eats into this fiscal or next fiscal year's budget. And so what we're suggesting to the body is that we kind of just defer that for about a 3-month period, that we don't fill those continuing appropriations. We pay for the requirements, except where they are critical. And so what we are proposing is that the continuing appropriations is an amendment to the statute that would say shall not be filled in the first quarter of the current fiscal year if the monthly revenue and expenditure analysis report filed pursuant to 5 GCA 4109C3 in September of the previous fiscal year indicates unfavorable revenue collections to estimates. So we're saying hold back for the first 3 months on the continuing appropriations if our revenues are not meeting projections. So we're not saying don't fill them. We're saying that let's not release all of them until we see how we are in the revenue collections for the fiscal year. So that's the other way, one way of trying to give the governor some greater control on these continuing appropriations. We also say that it shall not be filled after the first quarter of the current fiscal year if the cumulative year-to-date current fiscal year deposits into the income tax refund efficiency payment trust accounts are less than the budgeted provisions pursuant to the monthly audits required. Now, what we're saying is the governor has always said, in order to pay continuing appropriations, I have to steal, as his words are, quote unquote, steal them from the refunds. What we're saying that if they are appropriations from last year and you haven't spent them and you haven't obligated them, really you just want to release the allotment, but there's no expenditure tied to it, then what that can happen if we are current on our income tax refund deposits in the month as scheduled by the governor. He gets to schedule those deposits. So that is the other condition on handling of this continuing appropriations. And then the third condition is that they may be filled for any current year fiscal expenditures and shall be automatically deappropriated an equal amount from the branch or agency of the department from the current fiscal year. So if you want to front fill your continuing appropriation, you got to make an adjustment in the current fiscal year's expenditure levels. But you can always go back during later part of the year to backfill that when the revenues come in the later months of the year. So if you're going to release them, then you can release them, but you have to hold back the amount you're releasing them that you're taking from this year's collections until such time that they recover in the back end of the budget. And so the other change is then to identify those continuing appropriations in the definitions that handled that section, which is the continuing appropriations include all unexpended and unencumbered. So it's just the unexpended and the unencumbered balance of appropriations available to support obligations for a specific purpose or project, even when those obligations are incurred beyond the budget year. So it just identifies what continuing appropriations are. And Section 9 of the bill is we're kind of taking a lesson from the governor. In the bond bill, the governor reaffirmed his line of credit authority. Well, we have in the budget bill and in statute requirement for these cash reports from the Department of Administration. What's our cash position? The governor took them out in the bills that he sent down to us. He just said, I don't want to be reporting these cash reports. But it's statute. So this just reaffirms that those reports of the cash position of this government shall be given to the legislature. And it is existing law that is just being reaffirmed in here. So, Mr. Speaker, that really is the gist of this. It is an immediate response to the plan by the University of Guam that they will implement tuition increase, the negative impact that that will have on the students of the University of Guam and the operations of the University of Guam. And these are revenues that are not part of the budget bill. That's why we're treating this as a separate item and we're not amending the budget bill. We're just saying that these are revenues not recognized. As we passed in previous law, all revenues outside of the annual appropriations in the Annual Appropriations Budget Act goes to this supplemental account reserve, which is the bill that we passed during the supplemental budget. So all revenues get outside of the annual revenues get deposited into the SAR account, as we call it, and then it's appropriated out of that SAR account. And so that's the mechanics of achieving this. And again, this is based on the governor's affirmative action in submitting its request that really would provide additional revenue over and above what is recognized and appropriated in the budget bill that was sent up to the governor that he never informed us about. And so we are being proactive in that and saying, when those revenues come in, this is what they're going to be used for. Tuition relief to the students at the University of Guam and additional money for income tax returns and refunds. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and I hope my colleagues will support me on this measure.
Thank you very much, Senator Pangilinan. Speaker Wampat, you're recognized, then followed by Senator Yamashita, then followed by Senator Blas.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise also in support of Bill 308. We knew when the budget request came in from the governor's office that for all the departments and agencies in the executive branch, and saw that all of education, meaning DOE, GCC, and UOG, were all cut compared to all the other departments and agencies. It has been, of course, the policy of this legislature and past legislatures to make education, health, and public safety a priority. One of the things then that we did earlier and was to pass a bill for education and to then provide the additional $10 million that was cut from DOE. In addition, we were able to provide some monies, but apparently not enough to actually alleviate the shortfall, the deep cuts at GCC and UOG. UOG now, of course, has had a public hearing last week to increase the tuitions, and we've been meeting with the student government, the president and the vice president of the student government. I've met with their financial officers. I've spoken to the president. We've been really looking at ways in which we'll be able then to avert this tuition increase. Although there is a plan in the works right now that we're considering, of course, again, there's always this threat, this looming threat, that if the federal government is going to make the cuts, it'll be a lot of it would be in federal programs, 20% of that. We also saw in the Coburn paper, Back on Black, and he has recommended that all educational programs, grants that were made available to educational institutions, and in particular for universities, that the only grant that would be available will be the Pell Grant. I know the university has made many efforts to try to get as many of our students to qualify for the Pell Grant, to qualify for high-need areas, federal grant areas, rather than using a lot of our local funds, because we're seeing that slowly decrease. But that's a long process, and many times many of our students do not want to be a part of that federal grants program because they don't want to have to turn in some income tax documents to be able to make these students eligible. Whatever the reasons are, then of course it means that more of them then will continue to use the local funds. What we heard from last week and what we also received from the universities, their proposal for this tuition rate changes. And starting on spring 2012, currently the tuition for an undergrad resident is $190 per credit. In 2012, it'll go up to $209, and then in 2013, it'll be $220, and then on 2014, it'll be $231. In essence, the amount that we're looking at in which our students will have to pay is approximately about 15% increase in their tuition over the next 3 years. Now, as much, of course, that we're trying to get our university to be able to compete with other universities, and one area, of course, is to try to have more online courses, because we have universities that are based outside of our region but are competing for our own university, such as the University of Phoenix, the University of Maryland, Argosy University, DeVry University, Everett University, and many others. And those are revenues that we are actually losing to these really aggressive universities outside of our own community. And as much as we would like to make sure then that UOG is the natural choice, then there's going to have to be support from the government. With this tuition increase, Mr. Speaker, our students or the University of Guam will become less affordable and less accessible to not just the people here, our students of Guam, but even to those in the region. Already, we're starting to see, a medium household income in Guam that actually takes away tuition and fees are at about 13%. But then, of course, we're going to see an additional 15%. There are other financial impacts to our people and the economy of Guam, that students and family debt level, of course, will likely rise, because then those who really do see that through education it'll be the way out of poverty, it'll be the way to be able to get higher paying jobs, will be to get an education. Students then would have to go out and borrow. Students and families would have to borrow. And the research have shown that the average undergrad student, even in 2008, left school borrowing more than $23,000, and that's just for undergrad students. Students and their families also are very sensitive to the pricing and even the choice of where the students would want to go to school. If our students choose to go off-island, and many universities are actually providing scholarships to our students to attend off-island colleges and universities, because our tuition is going up, then we're taking that money off of our island, and we won't be able to see the multiplication benefits of it. And as a result, then again, of the increase of student tuitions, then naturally there'll be less spending in our community, less spending on goods and services. And the new non-resident tuition rates also, usually what that does is to try to attract students from outside of Guam to come to the island for higher education. We would end up having to lose those students as well. Now, the support of having to appropriate these monies to the University of Guam cannot be done rather without the university continuing in its own efforts to actually make some cuts at the university, and the president has made the pledge that they will continue to do just that. We've seen also in editorials where it's saying that the president himself, as acting on the regent, must continue then to scrutinize the university's budget and their priorities. So we're not just saying we're going to go ahead and provide this appropriation of 1.3 so that we can avert a tuition increase. We're also saying to the university that they must continue to scrutinize their budgets and their priorities. So we would continue with our work to dialogue with the university to try to reconfigure even the scholarships, because we were looking at that existing scholarships and how then can we transfer these students into more of the federal programs that's available to them, and so that we can make it more accessible and more affordable to many of our students. So with that, then, Mr. Speaker, I do rise in support of Bill 308. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Senator Yamashita, you're recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vice Speaker. I stand in full support and appreciation for Speaker Pangilinan and Speaker Wampat. All along, many of us have been saying we need to find another million, and all along they have assured me that they will keep their eyes open to find the money, and I am most appreciative of Bill 308-31. We talk about the Stabilization Act. We talk about how are we going to bring about fiscal stability across our island. And honestly, investment into education is long-term investment, and this makes a lot of sense. We have about 4,000 students who are up at the University of Guam, and they want to go there. And when we say to them, we're going to have to raise your tuition, it really throws a kink into their plans. So this is very much appreciated. This is a land-grant institution. It is our public university, and it is the place that should be affordable for all of our people on Guam as well as our neighboring islands. Mr. Vice Speaker, I also stand and to thank you. I walked in the other day into the halls, and you said that as we passed the budget bill last week, that you had, through your discovery or your work, your research on the medical loss ratio, had found some monies, and we as a body had apportioned those monies to tax refunds in a whole section. And I really appreciated you pulling me aside and saying that might be something we could look at. And tomorrow we are going to be introducing an amendment to the budget bill, which we are thinking is going to be signed tomorrow at 9 o'clock, to reassign some of those monies to help GCC and to help the University of Guam. And understanding when Speaker Wampat came and told me her good news, I said, well, I suppose we can still go ahead with that amendment and see what happens, because you really don't know what happens until it happens. But what I think, though, is really important is the fact that the Guam Legislature stands in full support of education. And so you're walking through, and Mr. Vice Speaker says, Senator, this is something you might want to think about. And I took it to my minority leader, and he was like, that's a good thing to look at. And we spoke briefly with the governor this morning about that, and he's in full support, and he's looking forward to receiving that bill if it so passes this body. So, Madam Speaker, one more time, I thank you for finding the monies, for being an advocate, along with Speaker Pangilinan, for our students, and for all of us for doing the right thing in helping our students who want to better the potential of making quality life on our island. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
You're very welcome, Senator. On the motion, the list. Okay, Senator Pangilinan. Senator Blas. I was looking for the sign-in sheet here. See?
Don't close yet.
No.
Yeah. It must be a Barragata thing.
I was looking for the list. Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Guys.
Madam Speaker, I appreciate and I applaud the efforts by yourself and of course the good speaker from Barragata with regards to being able to address the concern with regards to the tuition of the University of Guam and also to put monies into the tax refunds. I do have a question that I'd like to be able to pose to the author if he would yield, and the question basically is regards to Section 2, which is on page 4, and Section 5, which is on page 5. Where Section 2 says the sum of $2,897,000 and 94 from Section 30 funds from FY 2012 shall deposit into supplemental appropriations. The deposit in the section shall occur no later than 15 days after this enactment of this act. But then Section 5 says appropriations contingent upon approval by the USDOI of Section 30 advance for FY 2012. My question is whether or not there is going to be some conflict with regards to Section 2 and Section 5 in this thing, in as far as the language. One says 15 days from an enactment, the other one says it's contingent upon DOI. So I'm just...
Speaker, do you yield to the question?
Yes. While it may seem like they're in conflict, it is only because of the manner. I guess we're kind of anticipating. We know that the Section 30 will be given to us within the next 15 days.
Okay.
So that's why we kind of said it would be okay with that, because Section 30 is given in a lump sum, and it's usually the last week of September, so we should know by next week And once that's done, then it goes into the SAR.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then the second question that I have, and if the good speaker could yield to this, is basically, is my understanding based on the presentation and on my reading here, that a lot of this also based on a letter transmitted by the governor requesting for an offset, or not an offset, but draw out of the payments. Has that been approved yet already, or is that a?
No, and again,
Speaker?
we'll know that within the next, actually we should know hopefully by tomorrow or the next day. And we're just, this is contingent. We're doing all we can to help the governor lobby the assistant secretary. And so that's.
Okay, so yeah, so this is pushed through legislation. Then I appreciate that one too.
That's why Section 5.
Okay, okay, so that's where my concern was at, Madam Speaker. I just don't want to see it appeared to be a little bit of a conflict with regards to the two sections, and I just wanted to make sure that Section 2 didn't conflict with Section 5 here. And I appreciate the response by the good speaker. It does put some clarity with this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Blas. On the motion? Okay, so Speaker, would you like to close?
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I thank my colleagues for their kind consideration and hopefully their positive support of this legislation. I want to assure my colleagues that, this is new information that we didn't have when we were doing the budget. Had we known this information when we were handling the budget, we would have presented this additional revenue, and we would then have made a decision at that time of where's the best place to apply this revenue. We just found out about this information through a Freedom of Information Act last week. And so just with that, we took the opportunity because of the urgent need at the University of Guam to present this to this body. And that's the only reason why it's coming at this time, is that's the only time we have the information. So we are not withholding anything from any member of this body with regards to the revenues of this government while we were discussing the revenues of this government. We presented it when we found certification and documents through the Freedom of Information Act to the administration, and we were finally provided with the documents. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
On the motion then to send Bill 308 to the, so on the motion then to send Bill 308 to the voting file without any objections, so ordered. And the motion then to vote
So move, Madam Speaker, that we vote on this bill without engrossment.
without engrossment. Okay. No objections, ordered. So we are on the voting file. I'm sorry? I don't, well, we didn't give it a place, so is there, so, okay, so we'll put it on since we did the waiver and the emergency, so we'll do it first. So Bill 308-31.
Bill number 308-31 LS, introduced by B.C. Pangilinan, J.T. Wampet, EDD. An act to appropriate $1,360,943 from the Supplemental Appropriations Revenue Fund to the University of Guam for its FY 2012 operations for the payment of tax year 2010 income tax refunds and to amend 5 GCA relative to improve in fiscal discipline.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Atta? Senator Tony Atta? Senator Blas? Vice Speaker Cruz? Senator Dueñas? Senator Gutherts? Senator Mabini? Senator Munya Barnes? Senator Palacios? Senator Pangilinan?
Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker Wanpat.
I'm good.
Senator Yamashita.
Bill number 308-31 LS received 15 yea votes. Bill number 308-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 62-31.
Bill number 62-31 COR, as substituted by the Committee on Utilities, Transportation, Public Works, and Veterans Affairs, and amended on the floor. Introduced by Adolfo B. Palacios, Sr. An act to amend Section 53105 of Chapter 53, Title 5, Guam Code annotated, relative to ensuring the adequate repair and restoration of Guam's public schools and highways by contractors who open and excavate these roads.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Atta. Senator Tony Atta. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Guthertz. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker Wanpat.
I'm good.
Senator Yamashita.
Substitute Bill number 62-31 COR received 15 yea votes. Substitute Bill number 62-31 is duly passed by this body. Resolution number 74-31.
Resolution number 74-31 COR is amended on the floor, introduced by T.R. Munya Barnes, J.P. Guthers, DPA, Judith T. Wampat, EDD, BJF Cruz, FF Blas Jr., BC Pangilinan, relative to voicing the support of the legislature in Guam, the Guam Legislature, for the full implementation of Public Law 110-229, and to further requesting that the Honorable Janet Napolitano, U.S. Secretary of Homeland Security, provide parole authority for the inclusion of visitors to Guam from China and Russia and in the Guam and Northern Mariana Islands waiver program, and provide for the issuance of a broader final rule for expansion of the program.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Atta. Senator Tony Atta. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Guthertz. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker Wanpat.
I'm good.
Senator Yamashita.
Resolution number 74-31 received 15 yea votes. Resolution 74-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 94-31.
Bill number 94-31 COR as amended by the Committee on Education and Public Libraries and further amended on the floor, introduced by Sam Mabini, PhD, Judith T. Wampat, EDD, Aileen A. Yamashita, PhD. An act to add a new section 3222 to Chapter 3 of Title 17, Guam Code annotated, relative to requiring the Department of Education to administer a career information delivery system pilot program to middle and high school students.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada. Senator Tony Ada. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Gutherts. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker One Pat.
Ongan.
Senator Yamashita.
Substitute Bill number 94-31 received 15 yea votes. Substitute Bill number 94-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 114-31.
Bill number 114-31 COR as amended by the Committee on Utilities, Transportation, Public Works, and Veterans Affairs and further amended on the floor. Introduced by B. Anthony Ada and Chris M. Duenas, FF Plus Jr. An act to add new sections 54106, 54107, and 54108 to Article 1 of Chapter 54, Title 5, Guam Code Annotated, relative to allocating federal funds for mitigation and utilities relocation costs, and to amend sections 53101, 53103, and 53104, and to add a new section 53109, all of Chapter 53 of Title 5, Guam Code Annotated, relative to defining utilities as permitted encroachments.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada. Senator Tony Ada. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Gutherts. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker One Pat.
Ongan.
Senator Yamashita.
Substitute Bill number 114-31 received 15 yea votes. Substitute Bill number 114-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 118-31.
Bill number 118-31 COR as amended on the floor, introduced by D.G. Rodriguez Jr. An act to add new sections 77-126 through 77-132 to Chapter 77, Title 21, Guam Code Annotated, relative to establishing a lifeguard volunteer corps within the Department of Parks and Recreation to enhance the protection and safety of the people of Guam at public recreational areas.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada. Senator Tony Ada. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Gutherts. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker One Pat.
Ongan.
Senator Yamashita.
Senator Blas. Senator Blas, guys. Oh, he passed. Did you pass? Call Senator Blas. He passed.
No. My apologies. Senator Blas. That's the second one. For 2 minutes, right? Yeah. Senator Blas?
Bill number 118-31 received 14 yea votes, 1 nay. Bill number 118-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 38-31 COR.
Bill number 38-31 COR as amended by the author, introduced by Adolfo B. Palacios Sr. An act to amend section 1102 SS and UU of Chapter 1 and Section 3102.2A and C of Article 1 of Chapter 3, all of Title 16, Guam Code annotated, relative to facilitating the timely issuance of driver's licenses through the allowance of off-duty road examinations.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada? Senator Tony Ada? Senator Blas? Vice Speaker Cruz? Senator Dueñas? Senator Gutherts? Senator Mabini? Senator Munya Barnes? Senator Palacios? Senator Pangilinan? Senator Respicio? Senator Rodriguez? Senator Silva Tyron? Speaker Wanpat?
Lungan.
Senator Yamashita?
Amended Bill number 38-31 received 15 yea votes. Amended Bill number 38-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 123-31 LS.
Bill number 123-31 LS, introduced by B.J.F. Cruz. An act to amend section 71118D of Article 1, Chapter 7 of Title 22, Guam Code annotated, relative to requiring employers to obtain exit clearances from the Guam Memorial Hospital Authority for non-immigrant temporary workers.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada? Senator Tony Ada? Senator Blas? Vice Speaker Cruz? Senator Dueñas? Senator Gutherts? Senator Mabini? Senator Munya Barnes? Senator Palacios? Senator Pangilinan? Senator Respicio? Senator Rodriguez? Senator Silva Tyron? Speaker Wampat?
Lungan.
Senator Yamashita?
Bill number 123-31 LS received 15 yea votes. Bill number 123-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 107-31 COR.
Bill number 107-31 COR, as substituted by the Committee on Health and Human Services, Economic Development, Senior Citizens, and Election Reform, and amended on the floor. Introduced by Thea Munya Barnes, B.J.F. Cruz, V. Anthony Ada. An act to add new sections 1221.1, 1221.2, and 1221.2.3 to Article 2, Part 1 of Chapter 12, Title 10, Guam Code annotated, relative to the public disclosure of a physician's professional profile, and which may be cited as the Patient Protection Through Information Act.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada? Senator Tony Ada? Senator Blas? Vice Speaker Cruz? Senator Dueñas? Senator Gutherts? Senator Mabini? Senator Munya Barnes? Senator Palacios? Senator Pangilinan? Senator Respicio? Senator Rodriguez? Senator Silva Tyron? Speaker Wanpat?
Again.
Senator Yamashita? Senator Blas?
Substitute Bill number 107-31 COR received 15 yea votes. Substitute Bill number 107-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 132-31 LS.
Bill number 132-31 LS, introduced by V.C. Pangilinan, J.T. Wampat, EDD. An act to repeal Section 58128.7 of Title 12 Guam Code annotated relative to assistance in military outsourcing and downsizing.
Roll call.
Madam Speaker, if this passes, can we clap because I think this is the author's shortest bill.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada? Senator Tony Ada? Senator Blas? Vice Speaker Cruz? Senator Dueñas? Senator Guthers? Senator Mabini? Senator Munya Barnes? Senator Palacios? Senator Pangilinan? Senator Respicio? Senator Rodriguez? Senator Silva Tyron? Speaker Wanpat?
Again.
Senator Yamashita?
Bill number 132-31 LS received 15 yea votes. Bill number 132-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 138-31 LS.
136.
I mean 136. I'm sorry. Yeah, 136-31 LS.
Bill number 136-31 LS, as substituted by the Committee on Public Safety, Law Enforcement, and Judiciary, introduced by M. Silva Tahirun, T. Siada, Sam Mabini, Ph.D., Aileen A. Yamashita, Ph.D. An act to add a new section 3348 to Article 3 of Chapter 3, Title 16, Guam Code annotated, relative to prohibiting the use of video screens in a motor vehicle while in motion or in a lane of traffic.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada? Senator Tony Ada? Senator Blas? Vice Speaker Cruz? Senator Dueñas? Senator Guthers? Senator Mabini? Senator Munya Barnes? Senator Palacios? Senator Pangilinan? Senator Respicio? Senator Rodriguez? Senator Silva Tyron? Speaker Wanpat?
Again.
Senator Yamashita?
Substitute Bill number 136-31 LS received 15 yea votes. Substitute Bill number 136-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 161-31 COR.
Bill number 161-31 COR, introduced by B.J.F. Cruz. An act to amend Section 27003E of Chapter 27, Title 17, Guam Code annotated, relative to the removal of members of the Guam Commission for Educators Certification.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Atta. Senator Tony Atta. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Gutherts. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker One Pat.
Ungan.
Senator Yamashita.
Bill number 161-31 COR received 15 yea votes. Bill number 161-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 146-31 COR.
Bill number 146-31 COR, as amended by the Committee on Appropriations, Taxation, Public Debt, Banking, Insurance, Retirement, and Land, and further amended on the floor. Introduced by B.J.F. Cruz, Judith T. Wampat, EDD. An act to add a new section 6101K to Article 1 and new sections 6602C and D and 6603 to Article 6, and to amend Section 6600 of Article 6, all of Chapter 6 of Title 11, Guam Code Annotated, relative to placing limitations on the importation of tobacco products.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Atta. Senator Tony Atta. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Gutherts. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker One Pat.
Ungan.
Senator Yamashita.
Amended Bill number 146-31 COR received 15 yea votes. Amended Bill number 146-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 150-31 COR.
Bill number 150-31 COR, as amended on the floor, introduced by V. Anthony Ada, AA, Yamashita, PhD, F.F. Blood Jr., Sam Mabini, Ph.D., Judith T. Wampat, EDD. An act to amend Section 310316 of Article 1 of Chapter 3, Title 17, Guam Code Annotated, relative to Department of Education Management Assessments.
Senator Tom Atta. Senator Tony Atta. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Gutherts. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker One Pat.
Ungan.
Senator Yamashita.
Bill number 150-31 COR received 15 yea votes. Bill number 150-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 163-31 COR.
Bill number 163-31 COR, as substituted by the Committee on Youth, Cultural Affairs, General Government Operations, Procurement and Public Broadcasting, and amended on the floor. Introduced by R.J. Respicio, Adolfo B. Palacios Sr., Judith P. Guthers, DPA, T.C. Ada, B.J.F. Cruz. An act to add a new section 34.118.1 to Article 1 of Chapter 34, Title 5, Guam Code Annotated, relative to mandating the electronic remittance of child support payments and withholdings by employer and payroll processor.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada. Senator Tony Ada. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Guthertz. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker One Pat.
Again.
Senator Yamashita.
Substitute Bill number 163-31 COR received 15 yea votes. Substitute Bill number 163-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 159-31 COR.
Bill number 159-31 COR, substituted by the Committee on Youth, Cultural Affairs, Government Operations, Procurement, and Public Broadcasting, and amended on the floor. Introduced by B.J.F. Cruz. An act to add a new Article 14 to Chapter 5 relative to establishing the Guam Procurement Advisory Council, to add new sections 5118 and 5119 to Part B, Article 2 of Chapter 5, relative to Procurement Council and legislative hearings and inquiries, and to amend Section 20512 of Division 1, Article 1 of Chapter 20, relative to the Special Surplus Property Fund, all of Title 5 Guam Code Annotated.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada. Senator Tony Ada. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Guthertz. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker One Pat.
Again.
Senator Yamashita. Senator Pangilinan. No. Right.
Substitute Bill number 159-31 COR received 14 yea votes, 1 nay. Substitute Bill number 159-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 172-31 COR.
Bill number 172-31 COR, introduced by F.F. Blas Jr. An act to amend Section 75107 of Chapter 75 of Title 10 of the Guam Code Annotated, relative to safe harbor exemptions and restrictions.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada. Senator Tony Ada. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Guthertz. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan? Senator Respicio? Senator Rodriguez? Senator Silva Tyron? Speaker One Pat?
Pass.
Senator Yamashita? Senator Tom Ada? Vice Speaker Cruz? Senator Pangilinan? Senator Respicio? Speaker One Pat?
Pass.
Vice Speaker Cruz? Senator Pangilinan? Senator Respicio? Speaker One Pat?
Longan. Bill number 172-31 COR received 14 yea votes, 1 nay. Bill number 172-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 173-31 COR.
Bill number 173-31 COR, as substituted by the Committee on Youth, Cultural Affairs, Procurement, General Government Operations, and Public Broadcasting. Introduced by BJF Cruz, T.R. Munia Barnes, Eileen A. Yamashita, Ph.D. An act to add a new Article 4 to Chapter 13 of Title 13 Guam Code annotated relative to creating a task force on the prevention of sexual abuse of children within the Child Protective Act.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada? Senator Tony Ada? Senator Blas? Vice Speaker Cruz? Senator Dueñas? Senator Gutherts? Senator Mabini? Senator Munya Barnes? Senator Palacios? Senator Pangilinan? Senator Respicio? Senator Rodriguez? Senator Silva Tyron? Speaker One Pat?
Longan.
Senator Yamashita?
Substituted Bill number 173-31 received 15 yea votes. Substitute Bill number 173-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 174-31 COR.
Bill number 174-31 COR, as amended by the Committee on Appropriations, Taxation, Public Debt, Banking, Insurance, Retirement, and Land. Introduced by Chris M. Dueñas. An act to repeal and reenact Section 61-214 of Article 2, Chapter 61 of Title 21 Guam Code annotated relative to authorizing split zone elections.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada? Senator Tony Ada? Senator Blas? Vice Speaker Cruz? Senator Dueñas? Senator Gutherts? Senator Mabini? Senator Munya Barnes? Senator Palacios? Senator Pangilinan? Senator Respicio? Senator Rodriguez? Senator Silva Tyron? Speaker One Pat?
Pass.
Senator Yamashita? Speaker One Pat?
I'm done. Amended Bill number 174-31, COR received 15 yea votes. Amended Bill number 174-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 176-31 LS.
Bill number 176-31 LS, a substitute by the Committee on Education and Public Libraries and amended on the floor, introduced by Judith T. Wampat, EDD, T.R. Munya Barnes, Sam Mabini, PhD, F.F. Bloss, Jr. An act to amend sections 31022 and 6, 31034, 31102, 31107, 31182 and 6, 311105, 311111, 311112, and Article 1 of Chapter 32 to repeal sections 31102.1, 31115, 31116C, and 33104, to add new sections 33105 and 3106, and 33106, and to move Article 3, Chapter 32 to Division 5, all of Title 17, Guam Code annotated, relative to the Guam Community College.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada? Senator Tony Ada? Senator Blas? Vice Speaker Cruz? Senator Dueñas? Senator Gutherts? Senator Mabini? Senator Munya Barnes? Senator Palacios? Senator Pangilinan? Senator Respicio? Senator Rodriguez? Senator Silva Tyron? Speaker One Pat?
Tungan.
Senator Yamashita?
Substitute Bill number 176-31 LS received 15 yea votes. Substitute Bill number 176-31 LS is duly passed by this body. Bill number 188-31 LS.
Bill number 188-31 LS, a substitute by the Committee on Health and Human Services, Economic Development, Senior Citizens, and Election Reform, and amended on the floor. Introduced by D.G. Rodriguez, Jr. An act to add a new section 90114 to Chapter 90, Title 10, Guam Code Annotated, relative to prohibiting smoking in a motor vehicle when the child is present.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada? Senator Tony Ada? Senator Blas? Vice Speaker Cruz? Senator Dueñas? Senator Gutherts? Senator Mabini? Senator Munya Barnes? Senator Palacios? Senator Pangilinan? Senator Respicio? Senator Rodriguez? Senator Silva Tyron? Speaker Wanpat?
Ungan.
Senator Yamashita?
Substitute Bill number 188-31 LS received 15 yea votes. Substitute Bill number 188-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 195-31 COR.
Bill number 195-31 COR, as amended by the Committee on Public Safety, Law Enforcement, and Judiciary, and further amended on the floor. Introduced by D.G. Rodriguez Jr., Adolfo V. Palacios Sr., Eileen A. Yamashita, Ph.D. An act to add a new section 30.200 to Chapter 30, Title 9, Guam Code Annotated, relative to creating a central database containing information about repeat offenders who have committed multiple offenses involving domestic family violence and to be known as the Family Violence Registry Act.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada? Senator Tony Ada? Senator Blas? Vice Speaker Cruz? Senator Dueñas? Senator Gutherts? Senator Mabini? Senator Munya Barnes? Senator Palacios? Senator Pangilinan? Senator Respicio? Senator Rodriguez? Senator Silva Tyron? Speaker Wanpat?
Pass.
Senator Yamashita? Speaker Wanpat? Speaker Wanpat?
Yes. Amended Bill number 195-31 received 14 yea votes, 1 nay. Amended Bill number 195-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 177-31 LS.
Bill number 177-31 LS, substituted by the Committee on Education and Public Libraries and the author, and amended on the floor, introduced by Eileen A. Yamashita, PhD, Adolfo B. Palacios Sr., Chris M. Duenas. An act to add a new section 3112.2 to Article 1, Chapter 3, Title 17, Guam Code Annotated, relative to creating a safe schools program, School Crime Stoppers.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada? Senator Tony Ada? Senator Blas? Vice Speaker Cruz? Senator Duenas? Senator Gutherts? Senator Mabini? Senator Munya Barnes? Senator Palacios? Senator Pangilinan? Senator Respicio? Senator Rodriguez? Senator Silva Tyron? Speaker Wanpat?
Hogan.
Senator Yamashita?
Substitute Bill number 177-31 LS received 15 yea votes. Substitute Bill number 177-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number
154.
154-31 COR.
Bill number 154-31 COR, as substituted by the Committee on Rules, Federal, Foreign, and Micronesian Affairs, and Human and Natural Resources, and further substituted and amended on the floor, introduced by Judy P. Guthers, DPA. An act to add a new subsection A to section 3104 and a new subsection A to section 3105 of chapter 3 and new subsection A to section 20007 of chapter 20 and a new subsection A to section 21007 of chapter 21. All of Title 3 Guam Code annotated, and to add new subsections A and B to section 2109 of chapter 21 Title 1 Guam Code annotated, relative to the registration, education campaign, and voting process for the plebiscite on political status for Guam, all in consultation with the Commission on Decolonization.
Senator Tom Ada? Senator Tony Ada? Senator Blas? Vice Speaker Cruz? Senator Duenas? Senator Gutherts? Senator Mabini? Senator Munya Barnes? Senator Palacios? Senator Pangilinan? Senator Respicio? Senator Rodriguez? Senator Silva Tyron? Speaker Wanpat? Senator Yamashita?
Substitute Bill number 154-31 COR received 15 yea votes. Substitute Bill number 154-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 178-31 LS.
Bill number 178-31 LS, introduced by B.J.F. Cruz, Adolfo B. Palacios Sr. An act to add a new section 3105.1 to Article 1 and a new section 3702.1 to Article 7, all of Chapter 3 of Title 11, Guam Code annotated, relative to the prohibition of caffeinated malt beverages.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada? Senator Tony Ada? Senator Blas? Vice Speaker Cruz? Senator Duenas? Senator Gutherts? Senator Mabini? Senator Munya Barnes? Senator Palacios? Senator Pangilinan? Senator Respicio? Senator Rodriguez? Senator Silva Tyron? Speaker One Pat?
I'm good.
Senator Yamashita? Senator Dueñas? Senator Mabini? Senator Silva Tyron? Senator Dueñas? Senator Mabini? Senator Silva Tyron?
Bill number 178-31 LS received 12 yea votes, 3 nay votes. Bill number 178-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 200-31 COR.
Bill number 200-31 COR, as amended by the Committee on Appropriations, Taxation, Public Debt, Banking, Insurance, Retirement, and Land. Introduced by V.C. Pangilinan. An act to approve the commercial lease agreement by and between the Department of Land Management and the Machechi Plaza Development.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Atta? Senator Tony Atta? Senator Blas? Vice Speaker Cruz? Senator Dueñas? Senator Gutherts? Senator Mabini? Senator Munya Barnes? Senator Palacios? Senator Pangilinan? Senator Respicio? Senator Rodriguez? Senator Silva Tyron? Speaker One Pat?
Again.
Senator Yamashita?
Amended Bill number 200-31 COR received 15 yea votes. Amended Bill number 200-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 208-31 COR.
Bill number 208-31 COR, amended by the Committee on Appropriations, Taxation, Public Debt, Banking, Insurance, Retirement, and Land. Introduced by V.C. Pangilinan. An act to amend Section 60900 and to add new sections 60909, 60910, and 60911 of Article 9, Chapter 60 of Title 21, Guam Code annotated relative to the construction of a new Department of Land Management building in Acatña.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Atta? Senator Tony Atta? Senator Blas? Vice Speaker Cruz? Senator Dueñas? Senator Gutherts? Senator Mabini? Senator Munya Barnes? Senator Palacios? Senator Pangilinan? Senator Respicio? Senator Rodriguez? Senator Silva Tyron? Speaker One Pat?
Again.
Senator Yamashita?
Amended Bill number 208-31 received 15 yea votes. Amended Bill number 208-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 213-31
Bill number 213-31 COR has amended on the floor, introduced by Aileen A. Yamashita, PhD. An act to repeal section 6108 of Chapter 6, Article 1 of Title 17 Guam Code Annotated, relative to sick persons.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Atta. Senator Tony Atta. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Gutherts. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker Wanpat.
I'm good.
Senator Yamashita.
Bill number 213-31 COR received 15 yea votes. Bill number 213-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 209-31 COR.
Bill number 209-31 COR has amended on the floor, introduced by Thea Munya Barnes, BJF Cruz, Chris M. Dueñas. An act to amend section 1033 of Chapter 10, Title 1, Guam Code Annotated, relative to including the Guam Coco Road Race as part of the Guam Micronesian Island Fair, and to provide for support from the Guam Police Department and Guam Fire Department.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Atta. Senator Tony Atta. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Gutherts. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker Wanpat.
I'm good.
Senator Yamashita. Senator Tom Atta.
Bill number 209-31 COR received 14 yea votes, 1 nay. Bill number 209-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 214-31 COR.
Bill number 214-31 COR as substituted by the Committee on Public Safety, Law Enforcement, and Judiciary and amended on the floor. Introduced by B. Anthony Ada, BJF Cruz, Aileen A. Yamashita, PhD, Adolfo B. Palacios, Sr. An act to amend Section 40105B of Chapter 40, Title 7, Guam Code Annotated, and to repeal and reenact Sections 30.80 through 30.80.5 of Chapter 30, Title 9, Guam Code Annotated, relative to deferred pleas for domestic violence abusers.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Atta. Senator Tony Atta. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Gutherts. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker Wanpat.
Pass.
Senator Yamashita. Speaker One Pat.
Pass.
Speaker One Pat.
Pass. Substitute Bill number 214-31 COR received 13 yea votes, 2 nays. Substitute Bill number 214-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 216-31 COR.
Number 216-31 COR, substituted by the Committee on Public Safety, Law Enforcement, and Judiciary. Introduced by B.J.F. Cruz, Adolfo B. Palacios Sr. An act to amend items C, D, and E, and to add a new item F to Appendix A, to amend items A1, B, C, E, and F of Appendix B, to amend items B, C, D, and E, and to add a new section F to Appendix C, to amend items B, C, and D of Appendix D, to amend item A, and to add a new item D to Appendix E, and to add a new section 67.301F to Article 3, all of Chapter 67 of Title IX Guam Code annotated, relative to updating the Guam Uniform Control Substance Act based on the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration schedule listing.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Atta. Senator Tony Atta.
Yes.
Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Guthertz. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker One Pat.
Again.
Senator Yamashita.
Substitute Bill 216-31 COR received 15 yea votes. Substitute Bill number 216-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 219-31 COR.
Bill number 219-31 COR is amended by the Committee on Appropriations, Taxation, Public Debt, Banking, Insurance, Retirement, and Land, introduced by B.C. Pangilinan. An act to amend Section 33106 of Chapter 33, Title 7, Guam Code annotated, relative to mechanics lien on Guam.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Atta. Senator Tony Atta.
Yes.
Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Guthertz. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker One Pat.
Again.
Senator Yamashita.
Yes, Senator Pangilinan.
Madam Speaker, I just was reading the bill and I thought that that on page 2 that should have been, I don't think that should be an F. I just need to verify that with the legal counsel. It should just be a separate paragraph and not an F. Can we just make that a technical amendment if that's the way it appears in statute? It won't change, it would still stay in there, but it wouldn't be a separate section F. Page 2, line 17.
Line 17.
Rather than being an F, I think that should just be a separate paragraph. Okay.
Okay, so on that motion then, without any objections, so ordered. Amended Bill number 219-31 COR received 15 yea votes. Amended Bill number 219-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 220-31 COR.
Bill number 220-31 COR as substituted by the Committee on Public Safety, Law Enforcement, and Judiciary. Introduced by F.F. Blas Jr., V. Antoniada, Aileen C. Yamashita, Ph.D., M. Silva Tahiron, Chris M. Duenas, Sam A. Mabini, Ph.D. An act to amend Section 67.407 of Article 4, Chapter 67, Title 9, Guam Code Annotated relative to the Guam Uniform Controlled Substance Act.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Atta. Senator Tony Atta. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Duenas. Senator Gutherts. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker Wanpat.
Again.
Senator Yamashita.
Substitute Bill number 220-31 COR received 15 yea votes. Substitute Bill number 220-31 is duly passed. Before I gavel it in, Senator Yamashita.
I'm so sorry. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Just a really technical correction. My middle initial is A, not C. Thank you.
So noted. So that's a technical correction. Please make the correction. So substitute Bill number 220-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 211-31 COR.
Bill number 211-31 COR is amended on the floor, introduced by T. Siada. An act to amend Section 3102.1 of Article 1, Chapter 3, Title 16, Guam Code Annotated relative to facilitating the procedure for obtaining a waiver of driver's license fees for veterans.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Atta. Senator Tony Atta. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Duenas. Senator Gutherts. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker Wanpat.
Again.
Senator Yamashita.
Bill number 211-31 COR received 15 yea votes. Bill number 211-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 224-31 COR.
Bill number 224-31 COR, as substituted by the Committee on Youth, Cultural Affairs, Procurement, General Government, Operations, and Public Broadcasting, and amended on the floor. Introduced by V. Anthony Ada, V.C. Pangilinan. An act to add a new section 23-112 to Chapter 23 of Title V, Guam Code annotated, relative to requiring the posting of non-employee travel justification reports on an agency's website.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada. Senator Tony Ada. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Guthertz. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker Wanpat.
Pass.
Senator Yamashita. Speaker Wanpat.
Again. Substitute Bill number 224-31 COR received 15 yea votes. Substitute Bill number 224-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 225-31 LS.
Bill number 225-31 LS, as substituted by the Committee on Youth, Cultural Affairs, Procurement, General Government, Operations, and Public Broadcasting, and amended on the floor. Introduced by T.R. Munya Barnes, B.J.F. Cruz, T.C. Ada, F.F. Blas Jr., Judith P. Guthers, D.P.A., B. Anthony Ada, Adolfo B. Palacios, Sr. An act to add new sections 5011 and 5012 to Part A, Article 1 of Chapter 5, Title 5, Guam Code annotated, relative to adopting a procurement policy in favor of service-disabled veteran-owned businesses and to be cited as the Support for Disabled Veteran Businesses Act.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada. Senator Tony Ada. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Guthertz. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker Wanpat. Senator Yamashita.
Substitute Bill number 225-31 LS received 15 yea votes. Substitute Bill number 225-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 228-31 COR.
Bill number 228-31 COR, introduced by Adolfo B. Palacios, Sr. An act to amend Section 78106 of Chapter 78, Title 10, Guam Code annotated, relative to authorizing the Guam Community Police Review Commission to conduct meetings and relevant activities within Guam Police Department facilities.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada. Senator Tony Ada. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Guthertz. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker Juan Pat.
Again.
Senator Yamashita.
Bill number 228-31 COR received 15 yea votes. Bill number 228-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 231-31 COR.
Bill number 231-31 COR as amended on the floor. Introduced by V.C. Pangilinan. An act to repeal and reenact Section 23-111 of Chapter 23, Title 5, Guam Code annotated relative to the Medical Referral Benefits Bank Act and to be known as the Senator Edward J. Cruz Medical Referral Mileage Bank Account Act.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Atta. Senator Tony Atta. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Gutherts. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker One Pat. Senator Yamashita. Senator Tony Atta. Speaker One Pat.
Bill number 231-31 COR received 14 yea votes, 1 nay. Bill number 231-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 240-31 COR.
Bill number 240-31 COR, as substituted by the Committee on Youth, Cultural Affairs, Procurement, General Government Operations, and Public Broadcasting, and the author. Introduced by Eileen A. Yamashita, Ph.D. An act to amend sections 850, 852, and 853 of Article 2, Chapter 8 of Title I Guam Code annotated relative to arts and buildings and facilities.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Atta. Senator Tony Atta. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Gutherts. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker One Pat.
Again.
Senator Yamashita.
Substitute Bill number 240-31 COR received 15 yea votes. Substitute Bill number 240-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 242-31 COR.
Bill number 242-31 COR, introduced by T.C. Ada, Judith P. Guthers, DPA, Adolfo B. Palacios Sr., and others. An act to amend Section 63201A, B, and C of Article 2, Chapter 63 of Title 10 Guam Code annotated relative to the qualifications for selection and tenure of the Adjutant General of the Guam National Guard.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Atta. Senator Toniata. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Gutherts. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker Wanpat. Senator Yamashita.
Bill number 242-31 COR received 13 yea votes, 2 nays. Bill number 242-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 234-31 COR.
Bill number 234-31 COR, as substituted by the Committee on Utilities, Transportation, Public Works, and Veterans Affairs, and amended on the floor. Introduced by Sam Mabini, PhD. An act to amend Section 66202.1A of Article 2, Chapter 66 of Title 21 Guam Code Annotated, relative to including the Guam Department of Agriculture as one of the agencies required for approval of a clearing and grading permit.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Atta. Senator Tony Atta. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Gutherts. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker Wanpat. Senator Yamashita. Senator Blas. Senator Dueñas.
Substitute Bill number 234-31 COR received 15 yea votes. Substitute Bill number 234-31 is duly passed. Bill number 243-31 COR.
Bill number 243-31 COR, as amended on the floor, introduced by B.J.F. Cruz. An act to rezone Lot 6, Block 2, Tract 148 in the municipality of Barragata from Agricultural Zone A to Limited Industrial Zone M1.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Atta. Senator Tony Atta. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Gutherts. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker Wanpat.
Pass.
Senator Yamashita. Speaker Wanpat.
Ungan.
Madam
Pangilinan?
Speaker, I think I got overexcited. I'm voting no on the bill. I'm sorry.
Oh, you changed your vote then?
Yes.
Okay. Bill number 243-31 COR received 14 yea votes, 1 nay. Bill number 243-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 245-31 COR.
Bill number 245-31 COR, as substituted by the Committee on Rules, Federal, Foreign, and Micronesian Affairs, and Human and Natural Resources. Introduced by B. Jeff Cruz, R.J. Special, M. Silva Tyron. An act to add a new subsection K to section 7118.1 of Article 1, Chapter 7 of Title 22 Guam Code annotated, relative to prohibiting non-immigrant temporary workers from participating in the decision-making over any recruitment and selection of personnel or the processing of applications for temporary alien labor certification.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Atta. Senator Tony Atta. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Gutherts. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker Wanpat. Senator Yamashita.
Substitute Bill number 245-31 COR received 15 yea votes. Substitute Bill number 245-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 246-31 COR.
Bill number 246-31 COR, as substituted by the Committee on Rules, Federal, Foreign, and Micronesian Affairs, and Human and Natural Resources. Introduced by B. Jeff Cruz, R.J. Respicio, M. Silva Tyron. An act to add a new subsection Q to section 1106 of Article 1, Chapter 1 of Title 22, Guam Code annotated, relative to requiring the Director of Labor to electronically transmit job announcements to each mayor's office.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Atta. Senator Tony Atta.
Yes.
Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Gutherts. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker Wanpat. Senator Yamashita.
Substitute Bill number 246-31 COR received 15 yea votes. Substitute Bill number 246-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 252-31 COR.
Bill number 252-31 COR, introduced by D.G. Rodriguez Jr. An act to amend section 17106 of Article 1, Chapter 17, Title 3, Guam Code annotated, relative to referendum and initiative titles.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Atta. Senator Tony Atta. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Gutherts. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes? Senator Palacios? Senator Pangilinan? Senator Respicio? Senator Rodriguez? Senator Silva Tyron? Speaker Wampat? Senator Yamashita? Senator Toniata?
Bill number 252-31 COR received 15 yea votes. Bill number 252-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 256-31 COR.
Bill number 256-31 COR, as substituted by the Committee on Youth, Cultural Affairs, Procurement, General Government Operations, and Public Broadcasting, and amended on the floor. Introduced by B.J.F. Cruz, M. Silva Tyron. An act to add a new section 10.313 to Article 3 of Chapter 10, Title 5, Guam Code annotated, relative to the public disclosure of temporary labor certification.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Atta? Senator Tony Atta? Senator Blas? Vice Speaker Cruz? Senator Dueñas? Senator Guthertz? Senator Mabini? Senator Munya Barnes? Senator Palacios? Senator Pangilinan? Senator Respicio? Senator Rodriguez? Senator Silva Tyron? Speaker Wampat?
Again.
Senator Yamashita? Senator Tom Atta? Senator Blas?
Substitute Bill number 256-31 COR received 15 yea votes. Substitute Bill number 256-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 217-31 COR.
Bill number 217-31 COR, as substituted by the Committee on Transportation, Utilities, Public Works, and Veterans Affairs, and amended on the floor. Introduced by T.C. Ada. An act to require Imagalayan Guahan to establish a project plan of action for the construction of the Tijan Parkway project.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Atta? Senator Tony Atta? Senator Blas? Vice Speaker Cruz? Senator Dueñas? Senator Guthertz? Senator Mabini? Senator Munya Barnes? Senator Palacios? Senator Pangilinan? Senator Respicio? Senator Rodriguez? Senator Silva Tyron? Speaker Wampat? Senator Yamashita?
Substitute Bill number 217-31 COR received 15 yea votes. Substitute Bill number 217-31 is duly passed by this body. Resolution number 142-31 COR.
Resolution number 142-31 COR, as substituted by the author. Introduced by Judith T. Wampat, EDD, T.C. Ada, T.R. Munya Barnes. Relative to voicing the concerns of Legislature and Guam, the Guam Legislature, on the proposed redeployment of Guam-based Continental Micronesia, CMI, flight attendants resulting from the recent merger of Continental and United Airlines and the possible negative impact on the local and regional airline employee workforce and their families, as well as the possible adverse impact on the people and economies of Guam, the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, and Micronesia resulting from the proposed redeployment.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Atta. Senator Tony Atta. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Gutherts. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker Wonpat.
Again.
Senator Yamashita.
Substitute Resolution Number 142-31 COR received 15 yea votes. Substitute Resolution Number 142-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill Number 299-31 LS.
Bill number 299-31. Bill number 299-31 LS. A substitute of the Committee on Youth, Cultural Affairs, Government Operations, Procurement, and Public Broadcasting. Introduced by R.J. Respicio, B.J.F. Cruz, T.R. Munya Barnes. An act to repeal Chapter 26 of Division 3, Title 17, Guam Code Annotated, and to add a new Chapter 71 to Division 6 of Title 5, Guam Code Annotated, relative to empowering the Guam Northern and Southern Soil and Water Conservation Districts.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Atta. Senator Tony Atta. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Gutherts. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker Wonpat.
Again.
Senator Yamashita.
Substitute Bill 299-31 LS received 15 yea votes. Substitute Bill Number 299-31 is duly passed by this body. On appointments, get my list. I have the list. 19. This one? On the appointment of Ms. Joanna Margaret Blas to serve as a member of the Guam Parole Board. All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Restroom break. Yeah, you can put your hand down then.
There.
So on the appointment of Ms.
Unanimous.
Joanna Margaret Blas to serve as a member of the Guam Parole Board, all in favor, please raise your hand again.
Unanimous.
Ms. Joanna Margaret Blas received unanimous support. She is duly confirmed by this body. On the appointment of Mr. Ignacio Ike J. Pangilinan to serve as a member of the Guam Parole Board, all in favor, please raise your hand. Mr. Ike Pangilinan received unanimous support, so he is duly confirmed by this body. On the appointment of Mr. Kevin P. Smith to serve as a member of the Guam Parole Board, all in favor, please raise your hand. Mr. Kevin Smith, if received unanimous support, he is duly confirmed by this body. On the appointment of Mr. James L. Canto II to serve as Judge, Superior Court of Guam, roll call.
Senator Tom Atta. Senator Tony Atta. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Gutherts. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker Wanpat.
Again.
Senator Yamashita.
On the appointment of Mr. James L. Canto II to serve as Judge of the Superior Court of Guam, he received 15 yea votes. Mr. James Canto has been unanimously confirmed by this body. On the voting file, I know we still have vetoed substitute bill number 145-31 COR. To override, notwithstanding the objections of the governor. Majority Leader, you're recognized.
Roll call. No. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Notwithstanding the House rules, I move that revert back to motions.
On that motion then, without any objections, so ordered.
And having exhausted everything in the file, Madam Speaker, I move that we adjourn subject to call of the Speaker.
On the motion, without any objections, we will be adjourned subject to the call of the Speaker.